Okay, here we are. It's July. Our Independence Day. Great movie. The second one, not so much. I did that second Independence Day movie. I was like, what the fuck? Now, I'm not trying to say I could make a better movie, but I'm pretty sure I could have made a better movie. Now, here's how I would have done it. And you can tell me I'm crazy. Well, you all know that anyways, but here's what I would have done. I would have done a prequel. I know that's kind of a thing that's overdone, you know, movie prequels. That's kind of a thing that's Hollywood really does too frequently. They're like, oh, well, in blah, this is what really happened. What I would have done is I would have done a prequel and set it during the space race. And I would have said, like, oh yeah, during the Cold War, this is all the shit that happened, and then this is what caused the aliens to come back, you know? And the movie ends with them going, like, one day they'll be back. And then, you know, the Area 51 guys are like, we'll be ready. And kind of neat like that. But they didn't. They made a really weird sequel. And they wasted a lot of money and also, like, good talent. Because there's a lot of people in that film that can act, who are good actors, and they've been good in the stuff that they're in. So I'm just wondering, like, when the Cinnamon Toast fuck, like, where do you guys get off? It's a lot of money you wasted. I mean, it was just a weird ass movie. They brought characters back that I was like, why? Oh, cool, look at that. What's your armor philosophy? Smooth. Looks like Apple made it. Looks like Apple made this whole thing. You know what I mean? Apple presents Nintendo Power Glove and Nintendo Gun of the future. All right, so we can build another new cool space plane soon to get my guys around, which is neat. And we can have the Sentinel battlesuit. We also have a lot of money. But we are low on the resources because I wish we could build the ability to manufacture alien resources on the planet. You know, like, hey, we figured out how to make an analog of these alloys, and it's ruinously expensive, but we know how to do it. And you know, for a certain cost, a certain exorbitant cost, you could build alenium. You could try to make it, and it would be, you know, make it a chance of failing. Like, hey. Instead, all we did was blow up our lab. You have to build a new lab now. That would be neat. Advanced materials, you know? Let us do some Gordon Freeman shit. Okay, the jackal armor's done at this base. I don't think the jackal armor has even yet to begin. More jackal armor. Destroy. Okay, now we got a... There we go. I'm going to destroy one of these crash sites. See, this is the one that's got Androns and Herodons. And what I'm going to do is, that is the one I'm going to send my boys. I think the other one had the same, if I was looking closely. All right, let's see. Oh, you're back. Welcome. You're back, and you're alive, which is exactly what we thought you would be. We thought you would be alive. Okay, the shield roll, I'm going to redefine, because the shields in the 46s are neat and all, but they're not really going to be useful long term. Because what I need to do is I need to make the, set equipment as default. I need to make the shield be a real shield of humanity, you know? And that's what we do here. We are very much humanity. Humanity good. Oh, and some plasma charges as well. There we go. Set equipment as default. Equip default equipment. There we go. We got 2 people who can now just kill the shit out of things, which is what I want. And I have 2 new bodies that I can, you know, train people in. Equip default equipment. Oh, and Jan Koch? That's not your name. Let me go to the Patreon. Leslie Good. Welcome to the team. All right, and one more. JP Morganes. There we go. Enjoy your win mag. We are now going to go fight Alamau. Intercept. What's he got on board? Reapers? Fuck that. Yep. Wow, they're bombing Lagos. That's not cool. Shit. I lost my boys. They have to fish them out of the water now. And then rebuild them. Which is not good. That's very bad and expensive. You know how hard it is to get a plane off the bottom of the ocean? I can only imagine. I know we had that program back during the Cold War, Project Jennifer, which is where was it Jennifer Azorian, where we grabbed that Russian submarine, you know, with Howard Hughes' help. Because Howard Hughes. All right, King Wolf, forward. We have walking tanks now. You still have a guy without armor because I forgot? Oh, right, because he came back from the hospital, so we're just going to let him get wounded again. He's like, guys, they patched me back together. Science is amazing. And I'm like, right, we've made so many advances. Here's your jumpsuit. Sounds like a farmer just unloaded some double-aught into an alien. Yeah, sounds like the farmers are saying, back the way you came. Now you'll notice something, especially because it's at night. Look how narrow the vision cone is for the armor. The power armor has a very limited vision cone. I did not learn that until a night mission the first time I played this game, and I got that power armor and I was looking at the vision cone. Because if you have guys without the heavy armor, they can see in a very wide area and actually have peripheral vision. It's an amazing little touch in this game that most people don't realize. All right, I'm gonna let the power armor guys, like, just charge up and do what they normally do, which is hurt people in sport fashion. Ow. Okay. Barn fight it is. Yep. You lose. Hell yeah, Win Mag. An M16A1. Look, I've told people this many times, and I know some people get really butthurt and bent out of shape about it because everybody has their favorite thing. Like if you love Pop-Tarts and I go, I hate Pop-Tarts, someone will take that personally because they feel the inherent need to defend brand. You know, they'll just be like, how dare you? If someone loves Porsches and I go, they're not for me because I don't fit in them because I'm tall, well, 6'1". I guess I don't even know what tall is anymore because all those memes about like short kings and if you're under 6 foot, you're short or whatever. But the thing that blows my mind, like absolutely blows my mind, is you end up with people who defend brand, right? They just get really mad. So you could say like, I don't like needlepoint. And someone will go, why? And you're like, well, I have arthritis or whatever, you know, simple reason. And they will take that as a personal attack. When it comes down to the world of guns, I do own a few Armalite pattern rifles. I've built a number of AR-15s, I've built a number of AR-10s, and yes, built is a very loose term because assembly is more accurate. I have also built a number of AR-18s. And I am a guy who is very platform agnostic. Very, very platform agnostic when it comes down to rifles. Because I'm like, is it reliable? Does it do what it should do? What are its inherent weaknesses? Is this for sports shooting or defense applications? And, comfort, ergonomics plays a big part of this, so what works for you is best. Because sure, people try to apply Counter-Strike logic to real-world firearms. They just go, well, this has better stats. And I'm like, it's one thing you see in the gun world where people try to apply video game logic to real life, or they look at just raw statistics. They will sit there and go, well, this rifle is 3/4 MOA from the factory. And I'll ask them the uncomfortable question, like, have you ever shot 3/4 MOA in your life? Like offhand, not off a bench, not on a ransom rest. Have you ever physically done it with your own hands? And the answer is no. What that means is the gun has an inherent accuracy that is that high. It is indeed that high, the inherent accuracy of the firearm. But that doesn't mean that you are going to deliver that accuracy by buying that firearm. Because nothing beats training. Ooh, juicy. But nothing beats training. So when people ask me for firearms, opinions, and they're like, well, what should I buy? I'm like, buy what fits your hand, buy what's reliable, buy something with a warranty. So if something goes wrong, you don't have to go pay a local gunsmith just to solve minor defects or building defects that are unsafe. You can literally send it back to the factory and get work done and have them make it right, which is what you should do. And people start getting into very pedantic arguments about, caliber. And they go, well, 380 is weak, but 9mm is strong, or this and that. And I'm like, bullets hurt. If you need that extra bit of oomph, that's fine. Like if you're on a SWAT team and you are likely to fight against someone who is a barricaded suspect who may or may not have armor or be under the influence of narcotic that may dull their pain receptors or what have you, you can make some considerations for ammunition and all of these other things, but I find that people have taken a video game approach of just approaching broad statistics or stat blocks and going, well, this has bigger number than that, or this is a better number than that. But when it comes down to it, I'm a very boring dude, because when it comes down to gun opinions, I tell people, go spend what you must on a gun, but spend the rest on training and ammunition. Like, it's better to buy a basic bitch Glock that is very basic in every way, with good sights on it. Do pay extra for the nicer sights, and then spend the rest on ammunition, and then train, Join a gun shooting club, join a training group, and just train. Train with a simple firearm before you get anything fancier. But I know other people who are saying, I need a Colt Gold Cup because it is the most accurate 1911 with a blah, 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 or I need a Springfield Armory TRP, or I need whatever. You don't need that. You want that. And it's okay to want something. It's okay to say, I want that for my collection, or I find it cool, or I just think it's neat. Perfectly acceptable. When it comes down to making a reasonable purchase with firearms, practicality should trump everything else. Practicality should be the ultimate decision. Especially if its intended use is self-defense. But I find a lot of people are really crazy. Again, it's the Call of Duty generation of gun owners. Which is weird to say, because I remember when that game came out. But you have a generation of gun owners now who follow the rule of cool for firearms, but have never worked as a gunsmith, have never put serious time in training, and have never asked themselves, how do I know what I know outside of these fictional applications? We also have a generation of people who were part of the global war on terror. That has certainly shaped a lot of influences, and those people have their own experiences related to that conflict. But that conflict is also very different from the potential of, defending against a home invasion or something like that. And so I find that a lot of people have very many interesting little points of view when it comes down to guns, and I try to respect everyone's opinion. But when it comes down to AR platforms, I don't think they're the best platform ever. I think they're one that is supported by the market the most, and thus has a lot of aftermarket choices that is very attractive because you can make it yours very easily. It is the Lego of guns, much in the same way Glock is for pistols. But I think there's a lot more interesting choices out there. Now, are ARs the most reliable thing known to man? No, they are not. And if you doubt me, I'd say go fill a magazine. Hold on a moment, I'm gonna shoot this minigun here. Oh no, I'm not. I don't have them points to do it. But if you think your AR is incredibly peerlessly reliable, and I'm not feeding into the meme of they jam all the time. Yes, I'm aware by 1975 they've resolved many of the inherent basic issues with its first issue of production. I'm well aware of that. However, it also must be said historically that a lot of the worst parts of that gun were covered up and then fobbed off on just the ammunition manufacturer, ammunition choices, and many other small things. There was an actual cover-up as to the extent of the failures to include manufacturing issue. They knew better, and they did it anyway. But if you think your AR is reliable, oh god, this power armor's getting murdered. The one test I tell people is what I like to call the kitchen sink test. The kitchen sink test is really, really good. What you do is you go buy a bunch of remanufactured ammunition. This means reloads. And you get a mix of hollow points and soft points and Spitzer bullet points, and you get steel, and you get reloaded brass, and you get all these wonderful defective things, and you put them in a coffee can with some fine sand or talcum powder and rattle them around so they're nice and coated, and you let a few corrode a bit. Then you load all those into a magazine and see what happens. I'm gonna tell you this much. It gets interesting. That's why when it comes down to reliability in rifles, I prefer Galil pattern. But I will admit, are they as accurate as direct impingement guns? No, they are not. They are not as accurate at all. However, when it comes down to small, little improvements in accuracy, I find good enough is frequently perfect. You don't have to hit minute of arc, you have to hit minute of man. And as long as the rounds are generally in the appropriate target, you're fine. Now, this is just my opinion, and my opinion is reinforced by some points. I am a gunsmith. I have owned rifles pretty much all of my adult life, and I own many, many rifles and have built many rifles. I was an HK smith in particular, mainly G3s, G33s, PTR 91s, derivatives, and so on. But when it comes down to modern notion of rifles, I laugh at the idea of people saying this is a battle rifle and that's an assault rifle and that's a CQB rifle, and I'm like, a rifle's a rifle. It can be configured in many, many ways. But saying that 30 cal is its own separate thing and cannot fulfill the same objective criteria is a bit silly. Because if you went back to World War II and said, the M1 carbine's not a rifle, you would have gotten laughed at, because it most certainly is, even though it shoots a shorter cartridge. It's just a shorter ranged one. The idea of a notion of this is a rifle that's a battle rifle and is as suitable only as a DMR platform or what have you is also goofy. I know plenty of 30 caliber rifles that are not very accurate and would not be good as a DMR. I'm going to earn some downvotes for this, but I'm going to say this much. The FNFAL is not an accurate rifle. It's not especially accurate, I should say. I think they're really cool rifles. I've been looking at trying to buy one. I've owned one before, but I will say this, FNFALs are finicky. They're not especially reliable. Armies that have adopted them typically try to transition to other stuff. So to give you an example, the Israelis use them very briefly, and they performed so poorly in the desert that they went back to issuing people Uzis with very long barrels, just as a stopgap, because it didn't work so well. Other people who have owned FALs that I know, I have a friend of mine who owns a mountain of FALs in every possible configuration, and he will tell you that they can go wrong a lot of different ways. They typically will fuck up with magazine problems. They do not like fully loaded magazines, so it is quite common, and was for the longest time, that in your FAL you would only load 19 or 18 of the 20 round magazine because you might have issues otherwise. And like most things, the FAL over the course of its life mutated. You started to see things like sand cuts being put in to the bolt, and you saw a lot of other lightning cuts made to make it a little bit handier. You saw people realizing, hey, since this thing isn't a fucking sniper rifle or a DMR by any margin, it doesn't need the super long barrel, so you start seeing the Congo Paras and stuff like that. And it slowly evolved kind of into its new form as a handy, shorter 30 caliber rifle, fulfilling a interesting niche role. And it's a good rifle in that regard. Oh my god, the power armor failed. Jason Vincent is down. Hell yeah. Railgun works. Man, that sucks. That power armor was cool, but not cool enough. And Alamaus are, well, they're dicks. But when it comes down to rifles, I know some people will just say, but FAL cool. It is cool. It's a cool rifle. It's a really cool rifle. It's a continuation of Browning's work of art by Belgian engineers. It's a very, very cool gun. It's really neat. The FN-49, also neat. A lot of really interesting old rifles. But if it came down to like practicality for, you know, defense application purposes, I'd be like, no. Also, you can't find FNFAL magazines to save your life. Like, seriously. I had thought about buying one of those DS Arms FALs, because I've heard very good things. And I was looking around, and I found out, I believe they've said they intend to stop making forged receivers, which is why that's what people want. That's insane. The other thing that really blew my mind is they don't have any magazines. All they have are the plastic ones, and that's not what I want. The other issue with FALs is there's two patterns, really. There's inch and metric. So after World War II, there was this whole big consortium put together where everyone thought that maybe the West would all unify behind a rifle pattern, and America kind of hemmed and hawed because we wanted everyone to use, you know, full fucking NATO, or what would become 30 caliber NATO, and Britain quite smartly was like, what about this neat intermediate cartridge, which we're starting to replicate now, you know, 60, 70 years later, trying to get back into that intermediate thing. And so we hemmed and hawed and then just made the M14 anyways, because, you know, fuck what everyone else thinks. But a lot of countries did adopt the FNFAL. The Germans adopted it for the while as the G1. The British certainly used it as the, you know, SLR. The Australians did, the Canadians did. A lot of people adopted them and made their own thing, but in the imperial world of the Commonwealth, all the FALs were built off of inch pattern machinery, and in the European part of the world, they were built off of metric pattern machinery, which means that the parts don't work together, despite being the same gun. They're slightly different. And that could suck, you know, like in a war, where you're like, oh, well, thankfully our allies have the same rifle. It's like, those magazines won't work in this gun, even though they both shoot the same caliber. And it's like, what? They're also the same gun, but they're not interchangeable. Kind of a disaster, but that's kind of what happens sometimes when you do consortium builds on things. Also, I love that he just walks through terrain. Oh shit! No, 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 no! Don't run on that teleporter. There we go. But yeah, when it comes down to FALs, I think they're neat. They're just not reliable enough. And I would say that I've heard that DSA FALs have a lot of the older issues corrected, which is fine, because it's very difficult to make a blanket statement about firearms. A really good example of that is there are a million manufacturers of AR-15s, and some are crap, and some are really good. Some are like absolutely reliable, they're absolutely brilliantly made, they are inherently magnificent firearms. And then you have, you know, others that fall apart and don't last very long. And that's just facts, especially when you have a lot of variation in quality control and manufacture base and everything else. And that just happens. The same thing happens with rifles that are milled or, oh man, good shot, or a little more difficult to make, like with AKs. It's very hard to make a blatant statement about AKs because, you know, the Chinese Type 56 has very different quality control standards and a lot of little different, fun, interesting changes than, say, an AKM or even an AK-74. By the way, if you ever wanted to see the difference between AKs, the real easy way to spot it, especially in movies, is if you look at the front side of the AK-47, as you know, it's supposed to be like a little fork. Well, those of you who are gun fu people will know that. It's supposed to be like a little fork. In the Type 56 Chinese AK, it is an actual covered hooded sight. So in Hollywood, in the 80s, got a crap load of these Norinco guns to serve as AKs in movies. And what's fascinating about that is a lot of them still serve as AKs. So you will see guys who are supposed to be Russians or whatever in a movie, and they'll have the hooded sight AK-47, which is a Chinese Type 56. And because people are pedantic and keep pointing this out to Hollywood, saying, oh, that's not a Russian AK, that's a Type 56, Hollywood then took a Dremel to a lot of them to make that front sight not hooded anymore. So you'll see a lot of chop conversions. Same thing with the semi-automatic MP5s that came over in the 80s. The Model 94 had their barrels chopped and then converted in the 80s to MP5s. So all the MP5s you see, for example, in Die Hard are actually Mod 94s that were converted to full auto with a full auto sear kit. And they just chopped the barrel down. A lot of that stuff happens in Hollywood. There's a lot of really good armorers there who maintain massive collections of stuff. Just because you're like, I need a sci-fi gun, and these guys come out of the woodwork to make it happen. Hell yeah. Power armor. All right. Nobody died. Nobody died. I mean, we even recovered the guy. Excellent. This is one casualty, but we'll just scrape him. Yeah, we'll just scrape him off the ground. It's not a big deal. We'll just scrape him off the ground and pour him into new armor. He'll be okay. For the most part, maybe. I mean, sure, it happens. But yeah, there's a lot to be said about rifles. I'm not a huge fan of AR platforms as, like, you know, platform uber alles. I know a lot of people are very loyal to particular brands in there. They'll say, this is the best rifle ever. And I'm like, I prefer variety. Then again, I'm the guy who owns multiple Garens, so you can call me a FUD. That's all right. I won't be offended. I like the Garand. It's good action, strong action. Some people are like, well, the op rod will bend if you... I'm like, not if you use the right ammo. And it takes a long time for that to happen. I mean, I made a guy mad once. We were at a competition. I'd brought the Garand, and he was like, I prefer the AR. And I was like, why? And he goes, well, that Garand, you could bend the op rod. And I was like, sir, your gun's made out of aluminum. And he got really mad at that. He's like, aluminum is very strong as a metal. I'm like, yeah, that's why the plates in your armor are aluminum, right? He didn't like that. But, some people can dish it out and not take it. Alright. Spain is secure. I'm just shooting these fuckers down everywhere. Get off my planet. As long as it's not Reapers, I'm fine. I'm just gonna shoot everything down. Oh wow, my guy's just spinning out. Look at that. Bzzz. Okay. I was like, dude, you can patrol. You don't need to, like, spin. Okay, a lot of my guys are grounded because they're all fucked up. That happens. All the Marauders are beat up. Yeah, it's gonna be while repairing these assholes. Well, if I can keep building more power armor and more miniguns for it, I think I'll be alright. I just need to build more. Because the power armor works, that Magstorm thing is awesome, because it's a fucking minigun railgun, which sounds dumb, but it gets the job done, right? That one's got a leader on it. I bet I could steal that leader and make him work for me. I'll just do the mob thing. I'll give him like an offer he can't refuse. I'll threaten to break his legs. Yeah, I gotta wait until all my guys are all repaired up. Ooh, look at that. That looks fancy. The ultimate conclusion of dropship technology. Alright. My scientists have nothing to do, which means this is where we're gonna end up with, like, war crimes stuff. They're bored. Alfarius! Welcome back to the fold. He's like, I'm dying inside. And I'm like, you'll be fine. You'll be alright. Don't be dead. Don't cry. You'll be okay. Maybe. I could build one of them dropships, which would be fucking sweet. But I need more. Time to feed the military-industrial complex. I imagine we're just selling this to, like, guys in Dubai and the Emirates, you know? We're just going out there and being like, well, I mean, yeah, you've got, like, 8 Bugattis, but do you have turbo armor? And they're like, no. And we just sell those guys that. Because those guys have more money than God. Alright, I'm going to send a Marauder out because they're all fixed now. Time to save Sweden and whatnot. Alright, sending my boys out. Smash. Look at that little guy. 10 Sibelians, eh? Yep, shooting their shit down. Shooting it all down and blowing it up. Come on, Soviets, you fucked up by firing me. They know they did too. They're like, the rest of Earth seems to be doing all right. And I'm like, it sure is. And then I just go back to saving the rest of Earth. We're like, how about you plan your way around that, weirdo? Yeah, how about you do some of that Soviet planning, eh? You got a 5-year plan for them Alamaus? They're like, no. I'm like, exactly. All right, we're going to do some power armor shenanigans. We're going to have 4 people with power armor. Because fuck these guys. Fuck these guys in particular. They cannot leave Australia alone. Get off my planet, Ree. Yeah, they're all rearming shit. See, they can't say I'm doing a poor job. I'm blowing everything up, right? If you blow everything up that you're asked to blow up, are you doing a bad job? Or are you doing the job you were asked to do, right? I mean, real talk here. Real talk. If I'm blowing up exactly what I'm supposed to blow up, I think. I'll have to check. Alrighty, let's see. What are we doing? Power armor forward. Oh, there's that UFO. This'll be easy. Just come out and let them shoot at me. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Do it. I dare you. Oh, shit. There's two of them white. Had I not looked, had I just walked toward that UFO, I would have had these two guys shooting me in the ass. God damn. Being paranoid is great. Sometimes. Sometimes it's not so great. But, you know, it's good for now. Oh, Captain Caboose is back. He's like, why do I have this M16A1? I'm like, you'll be fine. You have to start over from the you know, you get a gun and a magazine, and if you survive, you know, you'll get some armor and stuff. And he's like, I've already had to do this. And I'm like, I know. You'll be all right. Or you won't. It's not my problem. Okay. Now we're just going to walk forward and mag storm all these people with miniguns, and then we'll use this as test footage to present to Congress or whatever. Brave boys. All right, here we go. Good job. Now, keep in mind, this is something I want to say based on all the gun rambles I've given. Keep in mind that everyone has biases. I have biases. My biases are based and informed on my experiences in life to this point. You have your biases and preferences. We all have biases and preferences. So keep in mind, this is just the asshole of, you know, the internet giving you an opinion. And you don't have to agree with it. Because if you feel compelled to agree with an asshole on the internet, that's an appeal to authority fallacy. And you shouldn't do that. You should always leave room to argue. As long as you're respectful, mind you. I mean, that's kind of the thing. You don't have to hate somebody because you disagree with them. Oh, hell yes. Good shooting. Like, you can just disagree with people. That seems to be something, like, it reminds me of something that Edward R. Murrow said. By the way, great person to look for quotes for in terms of just the practicality of civics. But, you know, Edward R. Murrow said that largely, you know, we've lost this ability to have the difficult conversations. And that's kind of inherent to surviving as a civilization, is being able to have those difficult conversations. You have to be able to talk about stuff. All right, now they're all suppressed. And you're going to walk away, and then we're going to minigun. Okay, you can't because you've been suppressed, but you can. It's on now. Oh, hell yeah. That was rad. And I think that's one of the things you learn as you get a little older. Because I've seen people get really bent out of shape on stuff. Like, for example, I had people who were mad at the Magistratum Mundanus because they thought that my portrayal of 40K was not their, you know, portrayal of 40K. That's okay. You know, my response to them was like, make your own thing. Like, you know, there's nothing stopping you from making your own thing and telling your own story and do it in your own way, which is what we should all be really doing with our lives. Make your own with blackjack and hookers. That's usually where cool stuff starts, is, you know, being dissatisfied with a product. But there are some people who are very pedantic about things in every fandom. And they feel that, you know, it has to be a certain way. And I'm like, I disagree. Oh, cool, that's a neat medal. Order of Terra. Wow, 20 kills altogether. He's blushing because he's like, oh, man. You didn't have to single me out. I'm like, yeah, I did. You get a pizza party, but only you. No one else can come. They all get to watch. But yeah, when it comes down to gun stuff, I typically ask people when they start having opinions on firearms is I just go, do you own these things? Like, do you own them? Like, if you think this sucks and this is great, I go, well, how do you arrive at that? Because, I mean, let's say somebody came up to you and they were talking about a car. And they go, this car sucks. You're like, well, did you own one? Because, like, if you owned a piece of shit car and it fucked you up, you know, financially and left you stranded and you couldn't do what you wanted because this car was just an albatross hanging around your neck, like, yeah, I'd understand saying, like, man, that car fucking sucks. That car betrayed you. Like, I get that. But when somebody says, this sucks, and you go, why? And they're like, well, YouTube told me. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Because I learned long ago that, you know, talking thing on the magic box is really not an expert. It may sound like an expert, but not necessarily, right? Because I wouldn't consider myself an expert at goddamn anything. I'd say I have some experience in life, but I think that's true of all of us. I think we all have a lot of experience in this world. And sure, like some experiences are, I guess, better teachers, you know. But that doesn't mean that those are the only experiences. We live in an interesting world of, well, they call this the age of information, right? The problem is that not all information is accurate. A lot of it is opinions masquerading as fact. And you may certainly feel certain ways about certain things, but just keep in mind, you gotta keep an open mind about shit, because the day you stop learning is really a sad day. I met somebody once who said, I know all I need to know. And I felt sorrow for them. Because I want you to think about the impact of that statement. I know all I need to know. That's pretty severe. I think that's kind of the waste of the human mind if you say, learning over. No more questions. It's a little insane, isn't it? Perhaps I'm the only one who feels this way. But what do I know? I'm just one of them talking boxes I warned you about. All right, you're getting promoted. By that, yeah, I mean you survived. Oh, we don't have the armor for it. We'll make some, don't worry. Just carry around that giant cannon for now. He's like, wait, what? You'll be all right. You'll be all right. Don't worry about it. All right, this is one of them fancy battleships, so I'm gonna send in 3 guys and knock him out of the sky. Because, yeah. And I'm gonna raid, this just to get some good experience for my boys. Because I need that. No, you don't. Because I watch them. They will dive on your boys and cut their ass off and use it as a hat. Just like Goon Station does. Ow. Get wrecked. Where's that UFO? I want to know. Here's the guy carrying the giant cannon. He's just like got a hernia. He's like, ugh. I'm like, don't worry about it. You'll be all right. He's just dragging it along the ground, swearing. How dare you? How dare you shoot laser at me? You sons of bitches. I'm coming over there. All right. Everyone else is just going to be on Overwatch hiding. Because, yes. I'm scared. I'm going to make Magstorm guy carry hernia gun. All right. Yep. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. Bring it. Let's do this. Let's do this. He can't see him. Because these things have shit for vision. Suppresso. The new soup from Campbell's. All right, let's get... Yeah, we're going to just march in there and kick... What was that back there? Did you see something run around? Yes, I did. There's some local cop with a laser. All right, I'm just going to make sure... No, I don't like when there's things out there I can't see. Ah, it's a civilian. Okay. Whew. I was going to say, like, something lurking out in the woods. Not a fan. Open that door. Can't kill us all. Okay, you can kill Jason Vincent. That sounded bad. He's like, ah. God, this is a clown car. That guy in the woods is like, please don't kill me, and just starts running around in circles. And I'm like, don't worry, I won't kill you on purpose. Okay, we suppressed him. Get over here with the hernia gun. Man, these guys are really gonna make this hard, because unless I can kill them in one turn, they are going to absolutely regenerate it. This guy is like, I just got here. And I'm like, yeah, you'll be all right. Don't worry, we'll get more armor next week. Well, I promise. I promise we'll have that. We're gonna work very, very hard. Guy in the corner. Yes, but guess what? Next round, you die. Actually, this round, you die. Hell yeah. See? There we go. He just has to keep going back to the hospital. The hospital. He'll be alright. I'm sure he'll remember his full name and everything. Ah, yes, the armor is complete. Predator Assault Armor. I'm going to build 4 of these. 4 more, that is. Then I might build some of the Sentinel battle suits, because those are pretty neat. I'm going to build, like, I don't know. Not 99, Jesus. I'm going to build, like, 10 of them. There we go. I need to capture me one of them head alien guys. Which means I might need to use a bazooka. Ooh. This one's got a full wing of escorts. I'm knocking these clowns out of the sky fairly regularly, which is great for me. Not for them, but, you know, good enough. These guys are fucking around in mainland China. Can't do that. There's some of my customers, you know. Disengaged, don't have the ammo for it. I'm going to do what I can here, but he's going to go do a bombing run? Oh. Why? Wow. They tried to land. Then they died. That's what you get. Oh shit. They destroyed a cruise liner. That's terrible. Why would you take a cruise during an alien invasion? You're just like, you know what? The prices have come down enough to where this seems economically viable. It's like, it's an alien invasion. It's like, yeah, but I mean, I haven't really seen that bird sanctuary on Wake Island before, and, you know, I mean, the time's right, and as you can see, they got coupons, and I have travel insurance, and you're like, good God. I mean, he's just out there blowing shit up like a dick, so I'm gonna try to get him. He escaped to space, because he's a scaredy cat. Alright, let's build more armor. Oh, yeah, more armor. Yeah. Gotta feed the industry. Hell yeah, Predator armor is done. Now I'm gonna build everyone to have the nice other armor. Oh man, this we're done with this. No, you're not. You're not done with this. You're done when I say you're done. Hell yeah. Go Earth. Hey, right? That'll do this episode. See you guys next time as we get into August. It's gonna be rough.
Let's be xenophobic, it's really in this year. Let's find the nasty, slimy, ugly alien to fear. There's no more cutesy stories about E.T. floating home. Let's learn to love our neighbors like the Christians learn in Rome. We know we ought to hate them, they're different, you see. We've seen them mean and ugly on movies and TV. The folks that ought to know have told us how it's gotta be. The gospel truth is found in scenes from Alien and V. Let's wipe out any life form that seems to be a threat. We'll serve them up a genocide they never will forget. Cause if we miss a couple, they'll breed a couple more. And soon we'll all be hating twice as many as before. See, aliens can never be as good as humankind. A more delightful race than us you'll never ever find. So step aside, you star slime, we're ready for your worst. We know you want to beat us, enslave us and defeat us, oppress us and browbeat us, unless we get you first.